and a woman should never be in a room together. Okay? A man and a woman should never be in a room together. But in a situation where maybe you want to ask her something very, very personal, where maybe members of her family or members of your family who are there, they might get really embarrassed. If you are in a room with a woman on her own, and you can easily commit zina, and she won't have two problems with that as well, then that comes under this hadith, لا يخلون رجل بامرأة إلا ومعه. But in that situation like this, you need that space. But again, it needs to be chaperoned. Okay? You can't just say that, oh, you know what, all of you guys go out of the house, I need to be alone in the house with her. You can't do that. You need to eliminate all forms of fear of leading to something which is wrong. Okay? Things that you discuss, I mean, as far as how much interaction do you need and how many of these meetings that you can have, then you can have as many meetings as you can. Now,
sorry, sir, just a small question. You know when like the man goes to see his bride and
yeah.
etc.
Potential bride.
Yeah, well, anybody and to see a girl. I mean, like, happens in Bangladesh a lot, and you get, what's the limit of seeing a girl? Because there's
with your parents. As far as how many visits can you have, then Islamically there isn't any kind of inhibition. You can have as many visits. Culturally, we tend to have one visit before the Sinifan and then one visit during the time of this engagement. But I mean, if your family is all right with it, you can have 100 visits. As far as having telephone conversations is concerned, then some of the ulama, they say that it's permissible. As far as, this is a caveat here. Okay, so this is not a blanket fatwa for making this jaiz. As far as her parents know that she is talking, as far as she knows her limits and you don't go all soppy, and as far as your parents know that you are speaking, and as far as you know your limits. Remember, before the marriage, it has to be an intellectual endeavor. You know, because you might, I mean, one of the things that is adab and you fear, because at the end of the day, if you want to just chill out, and this girl that you know, and you want to go all soppy and lovey-dovey on her, you don't need a fatwa, brother. You're going to do it anyway. But if you want to do it the right way, then remember that Allah is one that's watching you, and everything that you ask is sincerely you ask because it's an intellectual response. You need to know because you're going to be spending or possibly spending the rest of your life with that person. So it needs, the limits of interaction is that it needs to be chaperoned. Okay, people should know that you're doing it and you're not going behind their backs. Okay, you need to, once you're in there, you need to be very, very transparent and give them the kind of put all everything on the floor. I mean, not everything that you don't say that, oh, you know, one of my brothers, he was a rapist and he went to jail, and you know, I've got a brother who's a druggie and things like that. You know, if you're gonna go and put every card on the floor, then you know, you're not gonna get married. Do you understand? Something which is mainly related to you or mainly related to your household generically, then you should be quite transparent. I mean, I was quite transparent about our family routine and about how my parents were very traditional, and you know, if you can hack it, you know, things like that. Some of the things that you need to discuss is compatibility. You need to discuss what your temperament is. You should start what your temperament is. She needs to discuss what her temperament is. Expectation. What do you expect from a wife? You know, so if you say, well, you know what, the only thing that I expect from I'm all right, but the only thing that I expect is I need somebody to do my cleaning, cooking, my, you know, feeding the kids, and you know, cleaning the house and doing the house chores and nothing else. You know, then be forward. You'll find that some women like that. You see, maybe a very small percentage, but some women are willing to do that. But you need to tell her your expectation, and she needs to, you know, like one sister, she said, you know, she was like on the verge of getting married, and she came up to me. She came up to me and said, Mawlana Mansur, you know what, I want to break this marriage, and this marriage has gone past the engagement phase. You know, they just need to decide on the man. I said, why? And she said, oh, you know, this brother, I've got kind of different visions and expectations. My expectation is that I want to go and live in, you know, one of those sisters who's doing an Arabic course in Manchester University and been to Egypt for a crash course for a year. She's come back and she's got this Arab streak in her. So she goes, Mawlana Mansur, you know, I want to learn Arabic and I want my husband to learn Arabic and I don't want my children to speak Urdu or Bengali or English. I want them to learn Arabic, speak in Arabic. So everything's Arabic. It's kind of romantic fantasy here with Arabic. And I said, look, girl, you're living in cuckoo land here. The chances are that after marriage you can't do any of these things. We have all these fantasies that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And that. But when the reality kicks in, life is different. So maybe we need to also lower our expectation a bit. At the end of the day, you don't see yourself as somebody who's high up there. So you can't. You're not a Shah Rukh Khan. She's not a Karishma Kapoor or whatever you want to call it. So lower your expectation, but put everything on the floor, so that you're transparent. You can discuss things like work. I said to my wife that I'm sorry. I know that you come from a very modern and forward-thinking family, but right at the moment, work is not an option for you. You can't teach in Compass. You can teach in other places, but going and getting a job at the moment is not an option because you're a bride in a traditional Bengali family, and that's going to cause problems. And she was all right with that. Study. I said at the moment, studying is not is an issue. You can't do study, although you want to do further studies. Now my wife is doing further studies. We're 5 years into the marriage. Okay, but right at the beginning, if you started demanding her right, that I want to go college, I want to go university, or this and that, that's going to cause problems. But if she's got visions like that and you've got different visions, you need to talk it out. You need to have dialogue, and you need to come to a conclusion. Because there's no use you say after shadi ke baad dekh lunga chalte we'll sort her out afterwards. It doesn't work like that, brother. She's not a woman from Bangladesh, right? That they just say my husband. I've got a auntie who's got a husband who's called Salam, and she doesn't do Assalamu alaikum because she thinks it's beyond me to take her husband's name because he's called Salam. So she just goes. We no longer don't have wives like this or women like this here. So you need to have the fiqh al-waqi, contextual fiqh. So you need to residence is very, very important. Where are you going to keep her? Are you going to keep her in the attic? Are you going to keep her in a room? Are you going to give her a house? The thing is that ideally you should give them a house. That's the qaida, that's the sharia, that's the law. If she wants a house, then you should providing that is in your means, you should provide that. But the rawatib, what does the rawatib say? The rawatib is basically the life experience, basically say that, especially I don't know about the Pakistani families, especially in a Bengali family, if the son moves out of the house after he gets married, then they'll say, it's the wife, get all the blame. And in a Bengali family, the custom is that the wife can make or break the family. So these things are not, this is why I mentioned there's no textbook answer. Right at the beginning, you have to put the qawaid to a side and you have to discuss the practicalities. I told my wife, I said, look, honey, I didn't say honey at that time. I said, look, right, I'll tell you one thing straight, we can't move out. Until our parents die, we can't move out to this house, and that's the be and there's no negotiation in that. I can't move out from my parents. I'm being very, very honest here. There's plenty of other men that you can look at, but I don't want you to be in the kind of this kind of mistaken assumption that everything is going to be flowery when you come. You'll have your own space. Alhamdulillah, my father made us a whole penthouse at the top. Those of you who have been to my house will see that I've got a massive room, I've got a massive study room, and I've got a bathroom of my own, right? But the thing is, you need to be transparent. And I was transparent with my wife. I said, look, I'm putting all the cards on the floor. If you accept it, that's fine. If not, then you can move on and I can move on. There's plenty of people in this world. So again, in-laws, you need to discuss in-laws as well. We will talk a bit more about this later on. Chores, who's going to be doing what job? What's your expectation? What's her expectation? Is she going to be like a slave? Is she going to be subservient? Is she going to be on top of you? If you're going to be on the same level, what do you demand from her? What does she demand from you? All of these things you need to talk. And also, nayor, what we call, when the wife goes to her parents' house, you need to also kind of discuss that as well, and how often would it be how long for. I mean, these are only indications that I'm giving. You need to discuss all of these.